If you're ever looking for updates when we aren't on the show, check out our Facebook fan page. You can search for The Duncan Duo Show. I believe it's facebook.com/The Duncan Duo Show if you'd like to like us and get updates on the market. You can also check out our YouTube channel by searching for The Duncan Duo or youtube.com/The Duncan Duo. So an article on the front page of the paper today. Congratulations to Mark Puente for completely nailing it. The great thing about Mark is, since he's been in Tampa reporting on real estate, he's not talking about stuff that's happening 2 and 3 months, ago. So often you hear things in the press and in the media, and when you're in the real estate business and you see stuff going on every day, and they start talking about something, you're like, oh yeah, that's 3 months ago news. But Mark's been, on it, talking about things that are happening in the market right now, including bidding wars breaking out over Tampa Bay homes. The article that's on the paper, front page today, he quoted me, I think, a couple times in the article, and featured a couple of properties that we sold, actually, that we created bidding wars on. And, I'll tell you right now, for move-in ready homes in certain neighborhoods. Now, again, real estate is so local that when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about all of Tampa Bay. I'm talking about neighborhoods in Tampa where the supply and demand curve is out of whack, where there's more buyers than there are sellers right now. We've sold homes, several homes in South Tampa recently above the asking price for, bidding wars. Out in Brandon, even one in Sun City that was featured in the article by Mark. But, there's definitely a shortage of move-in ready nice homes right now in a lot of the prominent, highly desired neighborhoods. Part of that's the foreclosure, moratorium that kind of slowed those down from hitting the market. And then, other reasons are, buyers are finally starting to realize how great of an opportunity the market is. But it's something that, really, we've been dealing with, for a little bit, and it's a challenge for the consumer and for the real estate agent representing the consumer to realize that this shift is kind of going on in some of these neighborhoods. And that's not to say it'll last. I mean, you could have some of these neighborhoods get a batch of foreclosures and soften the market, quickly. But right now, I mean, we're seeing homes selling in days with multiple offers in certain price ranges and areas. And, 2 and 3 years ago, that was unheard of unless it was a foreclosure auction. So, it's definitely something to be prepared for. If you're a home buyer, you're looking in, South Tampa, Carrollwood, parts of Brandon, Fishhawk, and you're looking in that, $300,000 and below range. And that's not to say it doesn't happen above that number or below it. It's just, that's where a lot of the activity is. Be prepared for competition. It's definitely happening and more common, and we're seeing it very, very regularly. So again, if you are a home buyer, if you're an agent, and you're out there dealing with these scenarios, there's different criteria or things that you can do to represent your client a little bit, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But it's something that the rest of the world is taking notice on. I saw an article. It's funny. My wife and I, we watch TMZ. We're kind of the celebrity, stalker type people. We go out to LA and we go to all the house tours and all this stuff. And I saw on TMZ this week, Britney Spears sold her house for well over $1 million above asking price. And granted, not that I think Britney Spears is the most financially savvy person in the world, but I think she's done pretty well for herself. And, no matter whether you believe in her talent or not, the fact that her agent gave her great advice and she created a bidding war and probably got more for the house than it was worth. Now, granted, if you're selling Britney Spears' house, it's got some unique marketability factors to it. But nonetheless, the rest of the world is taking notice, and they're realizing that, hey, this is the right way to price in a market like today when there is a lack of supply in the neighborhood. Now, if you're in a neighborhood where that isn't the case, the scenario may be different, but you can utilize this situation to your advantage if you're a home seller. If you're a home buyer, you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to think outside the box a little bit if you're up against, 5 or 6 other offers on a house. And again, I'm certainly not saying every neighborhood or that we're getting appreciation anytime soon or that 2006 is back, but we're starting to see little sprinkles where, some positive, encouraging news about the recovery of the real estate market in neighborhoods where, there's clearly a lack of supply. So I'm going to talk about some ways to compete in a multiple offer situation. So let's say you're a buyer out there looking at homes, or let's say you're an agent out there and you're running into this over and over and over again. I got 9 topics of how to compete in a multiple offer situation, and I'm going to talk about it after our news break.